And statements expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WWDB, its staff, or management.
You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB. And now, your host, Philadelphia Councilman David O.
What can I say? Another rainy Tuesday. Do I not say that almost every other week? Like, why are Tuesdays rainy? Okay, if I wasn't here 2 to 3 every Tuesday, I wouldn't have made that observation. But thank you for joining me. Hopefully we have rain because you're supposed to be turning on the radio and listening. Not necessarily to me, but to my fantastic guests. Today, I am sitting with Dr. Krisha Coppedge. She's the founder and executive director of a wonderful program in North Philadelphia. It is called ASEER, and that stands for And Still I Rise. She serves kids in one of the underserved and underprivileged neighborhoods of Philadelphia, and she kind of does that single-handedly. Does it work? Well, yes, it does. And with her are 4 young people who have been part of her program, and we're going to hear a little bit from them. And then we have a well-known gospel musician here in Philadelphia. You might have seen him open at the Dell, among other things. He is a man of faith and a man of music. E. Daniels, very popular speaker and performer. And listen, I appreciate him because he volunteers as a judge of the gospel music category in our PHL Live Center stage, and we just did a press conference over at City Hall this morning, kicking off our 4th PHL Live Center stage. So we're going to hear some of his music from one of his CDs, and then he is going to bless us with some live performance. And then we are joined by a really innovative group. It's called Hip Hop Fundamentals. And Hip Hop Fundamentals is the product of professional breakdancers who not only do their craft and their art, but bring it into our schools and use it as a way of reaching young people to teach academics, discipline, inspiration, innovation, and history all around hip-hop. Mark Wong is here representing Hip Hop Fundamentals. Let me start by thanking Weinerman Pain and Wellness. They are the sponsor of this show, the main sponsor. I'd like to thank all our advertisers because you know what? We couldn't be here without them. And I'm not just saying that because they basically put this show on the air, which they do, but I don't have to say this. They're a great professional service provider. If you are injured, you know what I'm talking about. You need to get recovered. You need to get well. You need to be your best. And so check out Weinerman Pain and Wellness and the wonderful work they do. Let me thank last week's guests. We had Professor Craig Green. He's a law professor at Temple's Beasley School of Law, and I know people think law can be very boring and obtuse, although I'm sitting here with a young lady, 14 years old. She's going to be a lawyer, I think, right? Maybe a judge, maybe a law professor. We'll find out. She's in the ASEER program. But Craig Green, he is an award-winning law professor who just makes it so clear, and in today's world where we see so many tensions between the court system and the executive branch, that being the president and some of our legislation, it really helps to understand what the Constitution is all about and how the Supreme Court interprets it. And that's what Craig Green did. And then we heard from my friend Renee Wall. She was in Philadelphia attending school. She's from Harrisburg. She's now in Nashville. She's a singer-songwriter, and she's got her new CD out, Sworn Secrets. And then we talk with Justin Nordell. He's the new executive director. When I say new, he's been there a couple of years, of the Philadelphia Folk Song Society, and they have the oldest continuous folk festival in the United States, internationally known, the Philadelphia Folk Festival. And a lot of us here in Philadelphia may not be aware of it, which is a shame because it is a globally known, about 35,000 attendees, over the weekend. Just a fantastic place. And, folk music being just such a wonderful genre of music. Let me start by saying that this Thursday, August 17th is in Philadelphia, First Responder Appreciation Day. You know what? We have police officers, firefighters, paramedics, our emergency medical folks. They got a tough job. Sometimes you read about them in a newspaper, a tragedy, someone died, they saved lives. Sometimes they get criticized. But there's a lot of good folks who take on what sometimes is a thankless job. And you know what? Thank you goes a long way. So to our first responders, thank you, and let's make sure that all the people who are good-minded folks. If you see one of our first responders, please go up and shake their hand and say thank you. I am going to start now with Dr. Krisha Coppedge. She is here with me, and she's going to tell you about her program in basically the Strawberry Mansion section of North Philadelphia. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for allowing us to come on to your show,
Okay.
Councilman Oh.
Well, you do good work, and you also have something important coming up, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But first of all, let me say that, I was invited by you to one of your events right outside of your where your program is located.
Yes.
And I was just impressed with just a number of people from the community who really, really came out to support your organization in which is otherwise a very challenged neighborhood in North Philadelphia.
Yes, and it was so wonderful to have you there, and through it all we have survived. We've made it, and we're headed towards our 5th year, and we're so excited and proud to still be in the community of Strawberry Mansion.
What does your program do?
Well, ASEER is an before school, after school, weekend, and summer youth development program. We are designed to help children that are struggling in school in reading, writing, math, social, emotional development. We do a lot for the children in the community, and we provide a lot of resources and academic activities for our children in this community.
Now, sadly, there are not a lot of activities in that neighborhood. Is that correct?
Yes. There's not a whole lot. I mean, and right in the area where I am, we're the only youth development program in that area.
Yes.
There is another youth development program in the area, but not exactly in my location.
Right. And so, how did you start this program? What caused you to do that?
Well, as I said before, this program was certainly a divine revelation. It was not something that I intended myself to do. Once I graduated from the doctoral program, I was headed towards teaching in a university.
Right.
Abroad and here.
Right.
So that was my high goal, but then God stepped in and said, I have a job for you. And he intended and really meant for me to do this job, and that was to give back right here in my own community and to help the children that really needed our help.
Okay, and so your program has been there, but how is it funded?
Well, currently we do receive some CCIS funding, and basically the program is funded through myself and my husband. Right. And we do have some private pays.
And so that's been challenging.
Yes, it is challenging. It's really like a roller coaster. There's no study funding coming into the program. Mm-hmm. So, through prayer and supplication, we are making it. But we could really use more support, more funding, and, we just need more so that we can continue to enhance and grow the program for other children to come in, because it's really heartbreaking that very often children want to come to our program, but I have to turn them away because who's going to pay,
Yeah, there just isn't the space, the resources.
The resources is just not there. But, luckily last year, for example, my 93-year-old mother-in-law sponsored 6 children.
Oh, fantastic.
These 3 young boys that you see here with us today, she sponsored them for an entire year.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Every month we would get a check, and then we would ask our board of directors. I have an outstanding board of directors, and our friends and other family members to help us, and they would sponsor some children. But even with that, it just wasn't enough to carry the load of all the children wanting to become a part of this program.
A opportunity has arisen,
Yes.
and that is that someone is willing to refurbish part of the building, right?
Yes. We were told that once we own the building, one of the city officials have said that they would be able to come in and remodel our building.
One of the city agencies.
Agencies,
is that right?
I'm sorry.
Okay,
yes, the city agent. Yes. Yes, so we're looking to purchase our building. That's the most important thing. That's the main goal for this year, is to purchase the building so that we can move forward and bring in more children. Because if we did not have to pay a mortgage or pay the rent on this building, then I would not have to perhaps turn away so many children.
Right. Now, I asked you to bring some of these children over because a lot of times people hear about programs, and I'm sure they think to themselves, well, does this work at all? Is this a quality program, and does it have any impact? It seems like a kind of like a mom-and-pop operation. How does that actually work? But you know, one of the things that you were telling me, which I just was really just so impressed with, is the time that you had to gather your staff, your volunteer staff and others, to say, hey, maybe this isn't going to continue. Could you tell me about that again?
Sure. Well, you know, because of the lack of funding and, you know, my resources, financial resources, I had considered, you know, taking the program into a couple schools in the community.
Right.
And I was in a staff meeting one afternoon, and a child, Tehran, that's here with us today.
Yes.
He was sitting in the lunch area, and I didn't know he was out there. But we were talking about moving the program, or either I might have to consider closing the program because it was just getting to be harder and harder to manage without affordable funding. So after the meeting, I walked out and my staff walks out, and we see this kid sitting there, and he's flooded with tears, flooded with tears. I can tell his story, but no one can tell his story better than he can.
Well, before we get to that, when you saw, and everybody saw him crying, you thought he was sick.
Yeah, I thought something was wrong. I thought maybe something happened in school because first, why was he there so early?
Yes.
We didn't realize school had let out early, and he was the first student to arrive that particular day. So he was just sitting up there waiting to talk to me, as they always do when they come in. They always want to talk to Dr. Coppedge. So,
well, Tehran's sitting right here. How are you?
Wait, is the microphone working?
What's that?
Is the microphone working?
It sure is.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, well, listen, you heard Dr. Coppedge. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I do.
And why were you upset?
Because I heard that they were going to, like, move it or take it down, and I didn't know which one, but, like, I heard they were going to do something to the program that I didn't like, and then I just started busting out crying because I know that this program is meant for me, and I can't, like, I need to live with this program.
What does a program do for you?
It does a lot for me. It helps me with, like, my math, my reading, like, mostly everything that, like, school will teach you.
And how long have you been going to this program?
For, like, 4 years.
And how old are you today?
9.
Okay, so you've been going there since you were 5 years old.
Yes.
Okay, well, let me switch it over because Dr. Coppedge, you know, you find out how much he loves the program, how meaningful it is for him and for other kids, and then what happens?
So after that, once he expressed, what would I do without this program? You can't take this program from this community. I need this program. And I started thinking, immediately I began to think, wow, what? And the staff was like, they kept saying, oh, baby, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. But in my mind, it was different. And I started thinking, I started praying, and I asked God, what can I do to keep this program here for these children. A little child this age expressed such a dire need to have the program, and that let me know right then and there that there really is a need for this program.
Yes.
So we started talking about some things we could do, and one of the things we came up with about a day or so later was our black and white gala. But before I could even mention the black and white gala, Tehran and Freddie and Kareem, they came to me while I was working with a student, and they said, Dr. Coppedge, we have an idea how you can keep the program, keep a seer here in this community. And I said, what is it? So Freddie said, well, we would like to help. And I said, okay, so what are you going to do? He said, well, we want to make some cupcakes. We would like to have, Valentine's Day is coming up. So we want to make Valentine's Day.
I don't know if you were thinking about Valentine's Day with all the troubles you were thinking about, right? But
the last thing on my mind.
But the two of them are here, right?
Yes,
Freddie and so why don't we ask them, how did you come up with this idea about cupcakes?
Well, I came up with the idea about cupcakes because my mom really likes cupcakes, and a lot of people in my family eats cupcakes a lot. So when I heard that Valentine's Day was coming up, I told Kareem that that would be a good idea to make the cupcakes. And he said, but I don't think we're going to have enough money to make like 1 billion cupcakes. I was like, so then that's when I said we can just have like some of the parents to go buy the cake mix for the cupcakes. And he said that was a good idea. And then that's when Kareem said, do you want to tell Dr. Coppedge? And I said, I think she'll like that idea.
Okay, well, Kareem, do you remember that?
Me and Freddie, yes, I do. And me and Freddie also came up with the idea to sell them in the schools, since a lot of kids and their parents and teachers do love cupcakes. So it was a good idea to sell them in the schools.
Now, how old are you and Freddie?
My brother here is 12, and I'm 13.
And so you two come up with this idea about selling cupcakes and, there's no cupcake mix and all that. And Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And then you get this idea, we'll sell these cupcakes in the school and everyone will bake their own cupcakes. And Dr. Coppedge, you must have been thinking, this is not going to raise any money.
Exactly. My exact thoughts, because we were only shy of 1 week of making this all happen. So I said to Freddie, I said, well, how are we going to do this in just 1 week? I said, oh, no. He said, Dr. Coppedge, we really can do it. We want to buy this building. So I said, well, give me one thing that you're going to do to help promote this event. So he said, well, I'm going to ask my grandmother and my father to buy the cupcakes. And sure enough, they went home, told their parents, and the very next day, their parents bought cupcakes, and several of the other parents bought the cupcakes, the icing, and, the parents pitched in and started helping us out. And it was a very, very successful event. It just blew my mind.
Let's tell the listeners, how much money did this cupcake sale raise?
In one day, we raised $700.
Wow.
In one day. These children.
This is a poor neighborhood.
Yes.
And yet you raised $700 in one day.
$700. The teachers, the principal, the community people,
wow.
The people in
That's
there.
uplifting.
And guess how much they sold the cupcakes for?
And it shows what kind of good people are in some of our toughest, underserved neighborhoods. Just the sense of community, the willingness to sacrifice, and to do something for these young people.
Yes. And the cupcakes were sold for
$3.
Goodness.
Wow, that must have been heart-touching.
It really was. It really was. But that was their first project, and it was very, very successful.
Well, I'm looking at a couple of bright young men here come up with this idea, see it through, $700 in one day. And then you came up with another idea, right?
The skating.
It was a Rolling Thunder skating party that we had.
And now, who organized this Rolling Thunder skating party?
The Student Body Council.
Okay.
Because I've been saying I wanted to go on a Rolling Thunder trip for such a long time. Why not turn it into a fundraiser?
This is Kareem speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Freddie, you told me something. You're the president?
Yes, I'm the president of the Student Body Council.
Okay, so you kind of came up with this idea for the school for the rest of the council, huh?
Yes.
And how was that skating party?
That skating party was a blast.
Oh, had a good
and to
time.
save money, a seer made the food instead of everyone having to buy the food.
Right.
And also, we raised $600 off of that fundraiser.
$600. So right now we're talking about $1,300 that you gentlemen raised, 12 and 14 years old, just like that.
Yes.
And so that must have been quite an inspiration, Dr. Coppedge.
Yes, it was indeed. Yes. And since that, those two fundraisers were so, we did so well with those fundraisers. We continue on doing fundraisers. We had a fundraiser that was a fish fry, and we did really well with that, where one of our community soul food restaurant friends, he's actually a board member of ours,
Yes.
Mr. Kevin Bell from the Butters Soul Food at 27th and Girard. He put on the fish fry, and we did very well with that also, and that was to help sponsor the student body council's idea.
Wow, that's great. And so this seems like a pretty good opening for what then you were going to do and what you are going to do, which is your black and white gala, because in order for you to buy that building, that building in Strawberry Mansion section of North Philadelphia, in what otherwise would be considered not really an affluent neighborhood, you need how much money?
Well, we need $14,700 to buy the building.
And so in order to do that, you have this black and white gala. And why don't you tell our listeners about the gala? Who's going to be there? What's it all about? When is it?
So the black and white gala is going to be held on December 2nd. It's going to be held from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Wyndham Hotel in Philadelphia at 400 Arch Street. It's going to be hosted by Third Floor Media, Gary Shepard.
All
Also,
right, Gary
Patty
Shepard.
Jackson.
The wonderful
is going
Patty
to be
Jackson,
there.
yes.
Wonderful Patty Jackson will be there.
Yeah, we love her, Patty Jackson.
And we're looking to have a marvelous time at this event. It's going to be a red carpet event. You can come get your photos taken and wear your white gowns or your black gowns, and the men in their tuxedos. And we're just going to have a lovely, lovely time that evening. And to raise the money, all the funds for this event will go towards purchasing the building. And our goal is to purchase that building before the first of the year. When we come into 2018, we want to say we own a seer.
And if you own the building, you're going to get that free rehab done to open up another level of the building.
Yes. We would like to begin our pre-K at the center. And before we can do that, we have to have sprinklers in the building. We need to do some modifications to the building. And we have, those agencies out there that are looking to help us, but they also say you must own the building. So we have been working very, very hard, diligently, and even our children to do whatever we can do to raise this money to purchase our building.
Well, I'm looking at 4 beautiful kids, and obviously they're smart. Obviously they got they got guts and courage and ingenuity and drive and certainly a lot of confidence, and they certainly need every opportunity to be the best person they can be. Yes. Let me ask you this. I mean, where can people go to buy a ticket or to learn more about, the Black and White Gala?
Actually, you can go to our website, which is www.kmc-eec.org. That is our website. Or you can call 215-845-5609 and speak directly with me and get more information about the gala.
Okay, and you have with you one of your female participants, and she wants to be a lawyer. Why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hi.
And tell us your name.
My name is Tyria.
And Tyria, how old are you?
14.
And how long have you been in this program?
For 4 years.
Okay, and do you like the program?
Yes.
And why do you like it?
I like the program because it's like
they set a goal. They set a goal for every kid in their every age, and it's like they push you to your goal. Like.
Yes. And what would you be doing if you didn't have the program?
Sitting in the house watching TV.
Oh my. Okay. Well, I know some people aspire to do that, but not you. No.
Oh no, not me.
Okay. And where'd you get this idea you want to be a lawyer one day?
Well, basically, Dr. Coppedge was talking to us, and she was showing us. She was basically talking about how she went back to college and everything, and how she's still in school. And Mr. Lee was telling me about all his cases and how he had to do this and do that and work with all these people. And it's just like they're helping people. They're helping people with their lives and stuff. And it's like, I want to do that too.
Well, that's a wonderful story. I have a similar story. I was watching Perry Mason. I was living out in Cobbs Creek as a little boy, and I said, gee, I want to be that guy, smart guy who does justice and helps people. And so I wanted to be a lawyer and became a lawyer. Well, one of the stories, Dr. Coppedge, that you told me as we were having a discussion, and it just came up spontaneously, is about the drug dealers that used to be on the block.
Yes.
And what happened to them? Because they just left on their own.
Yeah, they're not there. I mean, what they did, and their being on that particular corner prior to our coming to that area, they're no longer there. They just, out of respect for the program, there were many of them that said to me directly, hey, we really appreciate what you're doing here in this community. If we can help you, let me know. And there have been times that a couple of them might come by and they'll see us hauling something in the building or trying to get it out of the building. And they'll come by, they'll stop and say, hey, do you need us to help? Or they will see us getting ready to have a big event, and they want to come by and know if they can take chairs and tables out. And they've been very supportive to us. They have brought us no harm. They always say they look out for us. And, we sell water ice in the summertime to try to also raise some funds towards purchasing the building. And they come by and buy the water ice, and they tell everybody in the community, go buy water ice from us here, buy water ice. And not only that, they bring their friends and their family members down.
Well, listen, it's unfortunate they are selling drugs. I certainly don't want to say anything good about that, but I will say that it's a testament to your work that they said to you, we don't need to be here. We don't need to be on this block. We're going to move because we respect the work you're doing in our community. And our discussion about that, and what I'd like to tell the listeners is, listen, that's about touching hearts and changing minds. Yes. We can collect guns, and that's a good thing to do, but you're not changing what's in a person's heart. If they have the heart for violence, they want to kill people, they will. But this program, ASEER, and programs like it that are mostly unfunded in Philadelphia, that are grassroots, that are put together voluntarily by people who sacrifice, they are touching and reaching people. They do need support. They need help. But when they work, as in this case, people's minds are changed. They give up violence. They move. They have respect, and the kids have a brighter future. So with that, I'm going to ask you to stay tuned because there's another person who's full of hope and inspiration. That is E. Daniels. We're going to hear from him right after this.
You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB.
Here at Sonny's Famous Cheesesteaks, we have the utmost respect for the founding fathers of our fair city's most celebrated sandwich. But we also understand the inevitability of time marching on. So come to Sonny's in Old City for a revolutionary take on the classic. And try the cheesesteak that Alan Richmond of GQ magazine named the best in Philadelphia. And declare your inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of cheesiness. Sonny's Famous Steaks, 228 Market.
My friends, this is Joe Kraus. You've heard me on Philadelphia radio now for over 20 years, and you know I don't often endorse products or people unless they are real game changers. I want to tell you about Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located in Center City, Philadelphia. And at the end of this short personal endorsement, I want you to consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness. If you are recovering from an injury, if you or a family member has been diagnosed with a disorder that has stopped you in your tracks, or if you're like me, determined to learn about wellness while getting yourself prepared to stay healthy so you can enjoy the blessings of your family. Remember the name of this warm and caring location, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Why should you consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness? Because they are who you expect them to be. Weinerman Pain and Wellness, on the web at WeinermanPainandWellness.com.
Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located at 100 South Broad Street, just south of City Hall. Call Weinerman Pain and Wellness at 215-988-9503. That's 215-988-9503. Call today. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Philly Labor RX Injured Workers Pharmacy Network, featuring PPC Pharmacy, First Choice Pharmacy, and Precision Scripts, providing injured workers with premium products and services from the point of injury through the entire healing process. The Philly Labor RX Pharmacy Network cares about injured workers.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
All right, and we are back. You are in the know with David Oh. I'm Councilman David Oh. Thank you for joining me this and every Tuesday, 2 to 3 on WWDB 860 AM. You just heard from Dr. Krisha Coppedge, and what an inspirational story, as told by her and 4 of the young people that are with her. Just how they really supported this work. Came up with some great ideas and really are for her program. And listen, so many programs like hers in the city of Philadelphia that are unrecognized, not supported, and need to be, because they are making a difference, collectively a serious difference in our city on a subject that is very, very difficult, and that is how to uplift people, give them a positive attitude so they can do and be their best. Well, talking about that, we have a Philly favorite with us today. That is what he does. He's a spiritual man. He's a gospel musician. He's a recording artist. He does some preaching too. And that is E. Daniels.
Hey, man, good to be with you, man.
Hey, good to be with you. I like when you say, hey, man, because you have that silky smooth voice that I don't have. So I celebrate that. Listen, man, I love to see people succeed. Yeah. I love to see people with just the skills and abilities that I don't have. And so we're going to start by listening to a portion of your song from one of your CDs, I'll Go, the I'll Go album, and the song is called I Worship You.
All creation sings of your majesty. We praise your wondrous name. Lord, forever you will reign. Hey, I worship you. The sun, the moon, and stars, they all speak of who you are. At times you seem far, but you're close to the broken heart. Hey, so here's my heart. Help me say, I worship
All right, that is E. Daniels performing I Worship You from his I'll Go album, which was released in 2014.
Yeah.
E. Daniels, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, man.
Hey, listen, one of the things that E. Daniel does, which is how I know him, is that he volunteers as a judge in PHL Live Center Stage in the gospel music category. And that's just part of him giving back and encouraging young artists, new artists, and other folks. And so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And so why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, because you do a lot. In addition to your music and all that, you also do some speaking and some preaching.
Yeah. Well, I believe in the philosophy of all that God has blessed us with, we ought to give it back.
Yes.
He blessed us to be a blessing to others. So every gifting that the Lord has blessed me with, I try to impart that into people that I come in contact with. So I'm privileged, man. I came up from small beginnings, and I'm still at small beginnings, to some degree. But yeah, I love to make it just an impact on a generation and what that looks like. And I think it looks like just giving back, being open, and giving of yourself.
What's going on with you these days? Because you have a lot going on. Do you have any concerts coming up or any projects you're working on?
Yeah, I started doing this quarterly event. It's called The Well, and it's kind of these small, intimate gatherings of worship. I invite about 50 to 60 people out, and we meet in kind of an upper room community.
Right.
And we just seek God's face, man. We have a time of prayer, a time of worship. It's kind of a small, intimate gathering. Right now I'm working on another project, so so next year, hopefully, it'll be done. I'll be able to release my third album, so looking forward to that too.
Okay, fantastic. And for people who want to learn more about you, kind of follow you and get your music, where do they go?
My website, edaniels.com, or you can follow me on Facebook, #edaniels_. So yeah, those are kind of even mainstream places you would go, iTunes, CD Baby. Just look up E. Daniels, you can find me there.
Okay, fantastic. And you have a song that you're going to perform for us today.
Sure,
and that song is My Cry.
Yeah. Yes, My Cry came from just what it is. It was a cry. I was sitting at my piano one day and just having a talk with the Lord. I was reading Psalms chapter 51. It was really inspirational for me, and I was just crying out to the Lord, like, just wash me now. And so I sat at the keyboard and started singing, and then turned into a song. So I put it on the album, and it was good from there.
All right. Well, listen, everybody. E. Daniels is going to share that with us live.
Sure, here's a little snippet of it. It says, so wash me now, Lord, wash me now. Here I am, Lord, please wash me now. Restore me now. Restore me now. Restore me now. Restore me now. It's a little snippet.
All right. Wasn't that good? All right. Oh, my. Well, listen, always a crowd favorite, and not only do you judge, but you get up and sing sometimes.
I do, yeah.
Yes, for the PHL Live. And what are some of the other ways people can interact with you?
I'm actually an executive pastor at my church over 40th and Chestnut, so right at Christ Community Church, right in the heart of the city.
Yes.
I do a lot of volunteer work around the McDonald House, missions trips. It's one of the first opportunities I had to really just go outside the box and do something that was bigger than me. So I love anything that has to do with people, anything that has to do with building community and engaging with people. I always find ways to connect and be a part of those things.
Okay, fantastic. Well, certainly we wish you well in your continued success in your musical career and sharing your music, and definitely with your pastoring and your public speaking and touching hearts and changing minds.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much, and we're going to ask everybody to stay tuned. When we get back, I'm going to announce the two winners of our prizes. We said last week that if you pick a number between 1 and 500 and you tell a funny joke, well, you're going to win. Two people are going to win a autograph CD by House of Hamill that, along with it, comes 2 tickets to see Sheila E. at the Dell. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB.
My friends, this is Joe Kraus. You've heard me on Philadelphia radio now for over 20 years, and you know I don't often endorse products or people unless they are real game changers. I want to tell you about Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located in Center City, Philadelphia. And at the end of this short personal endorsement, I want you to consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness. If you are recovering from an injury, if you or a family member has been diagnosed with a disorder that has stopped you in your tracks, or if you're like me, determined to learn about wellness while getting yourself prepared to stay healthy so you can enjoy the blessings of your family. Remember the name of this warm and caring location, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Why should you consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness? Because they are who you expect them to be. Weinerman Pain and Wellness, on the web at WeinermanPainandWellness.com.
Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located at 100 South Broad Street, just south of City Hall. Call Weinerman Pain and Wellness at 215-988-9503. That's 215-988-9503. Call today. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Philly Labor RX Injured Workers Pharmacy Network, featuring PPC Pharmacy, First Choice Pharmacy, and Precision Scripts, providing injured workers with premium products and services from the point of injury through the entire healing process. The Philly Labor RX Pharmacy Network cares about injured workers.
At any given moment, somewhere in America, a baby is taking a first step, a developmental milestone. But for too many parents, a baby's first steps aren't just a milestone. They're a miracle. These are the parents of babies who were born prematurely or with birth defects. It's a crisis affecting more than 500,000 babies in the United States each year. You can help them by joining volunteers like you who walk in March for Babies. The money you raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Together, our steps make stronger, healthier babies a reality for thousands of families. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org to take the steps that help make milestones and even miracles possible. Who will you march for?
Introducing the YMCA. What, you already know the why? Or so you think. Sure, you know the why for a swim, a workout, even a game of hoops. But did you know we're more than that? We're a cause. When you take your jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Take a cardio class, while kids are in an after-school enrichment program. Practice your downward-facing dog as a teen practices her leadership skills. That's the why. We work with people no matter their age, income, or background and give them the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive, all with one simple goal in mind, to strengthen our community. And we've got so much more that does just that. So while you might think of the Y as that place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. Introducing the Y. We're so much more than a place. We're a cause. Visit ymca.net/more.
All right, and we are back. Thank you for joining me. I am sitting here with Dr. Krisha Coppedge from ASEER and Still I Rise, a program in North Philadelphia for youth, and E. Daniels, gospel recording artist, pastor, and a public speaker, someone who also is involved in uplifting people and letting them be their best. And our third guest does the same thing, but he does it through hip-hop dance. And that is Mark Wong. He is one of the founders of Hip Hop Fundamentals. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Hey, how's it going, Councilman Oh? Thanks for having me.
It is going great. Thank you for being here. You know, I was in my council office, and one of my offices for my staff overlooks the City Hall courtyard, right. And we were watching you guys giving your program on hip hop.
That's right. And we saw members from your office come out, and we were playing music. That was a really special day because I had no idea that so much of the community would come out. So imagine we had 40 kids out there on the concrete in the middle of City Hall.
Yeah.
Everybody's breaking. we were teaching them some basic stuff, and Philly knows how to dance, so these young people picked it up in 2 seconds.
Oh, that's excellent.
So it was really, really beautiful to see.
And so one of the reasons that I sent my staff out, because number one, I wanted you on a radio show, and number two, we said, hey, listen, they might be great for First Responders Day, and so for anybody listening, if you're up at the St. Elizabeth Community Center on Thursday, August the 17th, that's 1845 North 23rd Street. Is that near you, Dr. Coppedge? Well, come on out. Okay. You will get to see Mark and his squad in action. They not only dance, but they break it down for you how to dance and what it's all about, the history, the education, and they make what's difficult easy.
Absolutely, and it's going to be an honor for us to give back to the first responders. So we'll be out there doing a short version of our program. Come out, check us out, and yes, we will absolutely teach you how to dance, and we'll do it safely.
Okay,
Guaranteed.
Listen, Hip Hop Fundamentals performing at 12:30, First Responders Day, St. Elizabeth Community Center, this Thursday, August the 17th, and that is at 1800 North 23rd Street, 1845 North 23rd Street. So how did you come up with this whole thing about Hip Hop Fundamentals?
Well, before we began Hip Hop Fundamentals as an educational program, me, my buddy Steve Believe, and a couple other dancers, we were just break dancers. We were B-boys.
Well, I thought you were a classically trained musician.
No, breaking is something that traditionally, you learn it in the clubs,
yes.
Or we'd go to events, like there's a great event called The Gathering, which is actually right near your church at 40th and Walnut every last Thursday of the month.
Okay.
That event's been going on for like 20 years. But we were those guys who were just learning how to break. And then once we kind of figured out how to break, we said, okay, well, we want to be at the national competitive level.
Wow.
So we got good. We started traveling around the States. We did national competitions. We did some international stuff. We started doing the music videos and all that. But what we found that we really liked to do was teach. So we kind of put it to ourselves to say, well, is it possible for us to teach break-in, to make somewhat of a living at it, and to see if it can be sustainable?
Wow,
that
years, sounds kind of risky, Mark.
It was definitely
If I were
risky.
your dad, I would be saying, hey, you're not going to do that.
That's exactly what my dad said to me at first.
Okay.
I think the litmus test for us was when we did our first crowdfunding campaign to see, okay, can we raise enough to bring our program that we invented, which taught the history of the civil rights movement through breakdancing. We wanted to see if we could raise enough to get it into at least 10 Philadelphia schools free of charge to the school.
Wow.
And
okay.
once we were able to do that, we said, okay, we might be onto something here. Then we kind of went full force ahead with making more educational programming, providing ongoing programming for people here in Philadelphia, and kind of branching out, going all over the place, New Jersey, Maryland, all that.
What can you tell our listeners, what exactly is it that you bring to the schools or through your educational program of hip-hop?
Absolutely. I like to think we try and do as much as possible with breaking. Breaking is the oldest and the first form of hip-hop dance, and it's so creative and it's so empowering for young people. So if we were to come to a school, we might do a presentation that teaches the history of hip-hop and the history of how young people invented hip-hop all the way back in the Bronx 1970s. We also offer programs that, like we were talking about, that teach the history of the civil rights movement. Okay, what's the connection between the young people who fought for freedom in the 60s and then the young people who created hip-hop in the 70s? And we can also teach basic physics. We teach molecular states of matter using hip-hop. So we could do programs like that, or we could come and do after-school workshops. We just kind of concluded this last school year. It's really, really great program at Fitler Academics Plus in North Philly, where we were working with middle school students to create their own dance piece about their community. So they were writing poetry. They were writing things about Black Lives Matter. They were making their own dance pieces that were I just get to sit back and watch these children create these amazing, amazing dance pieces that they perform for their entire community. So we do lots of different kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, because I know there may be some listeners saying, I don't know about this. Sounds like a lot of, kind of like not really serious stuff. I say, listen, I as a parent, I make sure my kids who are very young, 10, 7, 5, and 3, that they learn some music. That is so important for their development mentally, emotionally, really development of certain parts of their brain. So I don't care if they become musicians, but I really want them to have music appreciation. And something physical, you know, yeah, we take them swimming and all that, but they go to jiu-jitsu, they learn martial arts, and my daughter, of course, wants to go to ballet school. Who doesn't? But, you know, the discipline, the physical demands, the creativity of body movement, and just how entertaining it is for the kids. And when they're exhausted, they sit down and learn a few things too. So I imagine your program must be very popular.
It is pretty popular, and it's really fun, not just for me, but I think for the young people who are part of it as well. I mean, and I could talk forever about the cutting edge brain science that's looking at how dance affects young people's brains and how it really helps them not just to become more coordinated, but how to cooperate better with others and how to express themselves. And once you can link a physical activity with actually feeling something aesthetically, then you can really start to see young people get empowered and blossom, and all these learning connections happen. It's like a beautiful thing. It's amazing.
Why don't you tell us about your team? Because you have a pretty eclectic, I'd say, diverse team.
We do, yeah.
Yes. Who are your team members?
Well, we have a whole bunch of younger B-boys who are all from the Philadelphia area, but we got some from South Philly, we got some from North Philly, some from West. We pride ourselves in being really diverse, and that is actually something that is a product of hip hop. In the hip hop community in Philly, there's this whole underground scene of like superheroes, of people who can do these incredible moves, but you might not ever know. These are your waiters, these are your caterers. There's this whole underground scene, and the most beautiful part about it is it is incredibly diverse. We've got African American young people, we got a whole bunch of Asian American young people, and everybody gets along under the one umbrella of hip hop. So we've got, for example, some of our younger members were my first students ever. I've known them since they were 10 years old. And now they're subcontracted for me. They're making good money for Hip Hop Fundamentals, and I'm not ashamed to say it, they're better than me. They're doing crazy stuff.
Well, it would be a better world if we would settle our disputes not with guns or knives, but with breakdancing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember West Side Story, and whatever happened to dance off? I mean, so much more civilized back then, right? I'm going to beat your behind with dancing.
Absolutely, yeah. Councilman, they still happen. They still go down all the time. And what's amazing is that I'll see people, we call it a battle.
Yes.
So we'll see people battle, and there's so much genuine aggression. But after that battle, shaking hands,
everybody's
hugs,
friends.
Yep, and we realize we're all in it together.
Nobody got hurt.
Absolutely.
People got creative.
Yep.
You know, I said that about Kevin Hart. Some people get pissed. He gets funny.
That's right.
A much better thing to do, you know, and so, yeah, I think it's really very worthwhile. If people want to say, hey, listen, I want to invite these guys out to my church, to my school, to my summer camp, where do they reach you guys?
The easiest way to reach us is hiphopfundamentals.com. Super easy. We got a contact form on there, and we have a dedicated team of professionals, which means just me and my buddy Steve. Mm-hmm. We will personally answer your emails. And I'd also like to say we're really excited now to partner with a downtown Philadelphia studio called Move Makers Philly, where we're offering ongoing programming to young people and to adults. And one of the most amazing things that we've seen blossom over growing Move Makers over the last year and a half.
Right.
Surprisingly, this blew me away. Most of my students are young girls around the ages of 10 to 12, and they are awesome. Doing handstands, spinning on their head, they got all of that. Yep.
Well, my daughter fits right in there, you know. I'll have to talk
Send her
with
on down the studio. Yeah, our first session is always free. So if anybody has any young people, you want to just come check it out, come check it out for free, see if you guys like it.
Yeah, come check it out. That's a good thing. Now, I'm going to take a second right here in the middle of our conversation to interrupt because I got some listeners waiting for this. I have 2 autographed CDs, House of Hamill from their CD, Wide Awake. And in this envelope, I have 4 tickets, 2 apiece, to see Sheila E., Dave Koz, Larry Graham, Rain or Shine at the Dell Music Center. And this is for Thursday, August the 17th. That is this Thursday at 7 p.m. And so what I said is pick a number 1 through 500. And whoever comes closest, is the winner. And we have 2 winners. And if you are kind of borderline, send in a funny joke, and the funny joke wins, right? And so to make a long story short, we have 2 winners. And the winners are Chris Christian and Lenore Fortson. Lenore Fortson, Chris Christian, you guys have won the CDs and the 2 tickets to see Sheila E. And so what I'd say is, listen, send me email if you want us to send you the tickets, or stop by my office in City Hall and pick up the tickets. Make sure you get them. And so we'll work that out later. But congratulations. Thanks for listening. And so let me go back now to Mark and just say, like, I find, something very common about what you and Dr. Coppedge and E. Daniels are doing, and that is that you've seen a need and you are addressing it with your talent, your motivation, but you're uplifting others. And in that sense, you're basically giving a person a fishing pole to do their own fishing. With their own uplifted spirit, they go out there and they change their life and they change their environment.
Our mission at Hip Hop Fundamentals has always been inspire, educate, and empower. And empower, I think, is the most important part of what we do. I mean, we're just doing it with breaking. But I'm honored to be here with places like Asir and artists like E. Daniels. We're doing different kinds of empowerment that are all coming together, hopefully to make Philadelphia a better place for young people.
Okay, not too different from what you're doing, Dr. Coppedge. No, yeah, or you, E. Daniels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Well, what do you kids think?
I want to be in this program.
All right, there you go. There you go. All right, fantastic.
I'm not thinking around here. I just want to be in both of them.
Okay, well, listen, there's a few things, you could learn about singing. You could stay in your program. You might get to see Hip Hop Fundamentals.
That's right.
Break it down for you. On August the 17th. Well, let me do this. Let me wrap it up. Thank you very much, all my guests, and to all of you out there. Listen, if you want to listen to this show again, you can go to my YouTube page, In the Know with David O. YouTube. You'll get to see a video of folks, or you can kind of go to my Facebook page for In the Know with David O. Join me again next week, Tuesday, 2 to 3. All right?
You've been listening to In the Know with David O. on 860 AM WWDB. Tune in again next Tuesday at 2 p.m. for more informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio with Philadelphia Councilman David O.